Well, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? What's happening? So, yeah, today we are going to be doing our Planets Through Ascendant series, and today we're going to be covering Sun in the 7th house for Gemini Ascendant people, as in what happens when Sun is in the 7th house in the sign of Sagittarius for a Gemini Ascendant. And this is different from my Sun in signs or Sun in houses because those were two separate entities. Now we are combining them two together. Now we want to see what is this Sun is going to do for this person, and that's what this series is all about, which is pretty much the longest series on my channel, I think. And as always, if you do not know where your Sun is placed, what sign it's in, what degree it's at, what nakshatra it's in, all of the other details about your horoscope, for that check out the links here. Check out my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects of the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link here. So, Sun for Gemini Ascendant people. So for a Gemini Ascendant person is very much all about communication. And since 3rd house is the communication, Gemini said, the gods of Gemini, you know what, let's give Sun the 3rd house. Because we want to express ourselves dynamically and creatively. We want to be out there. We want to be the machines of communication. So now what's happening, Sun that rules the 3rd house of communication, arts, media, creativity, journalism, skills of hands, siblings, travel, intelligence is in the 7th house in the sign of Sagittarius. So now Leo, that Sun rules, is a fixed sign. They're very fixed on what they believe and what they want to perceive in this life. But that is now in a dual sign of Sagittarius, meaning they're gonna transform themselves all the time. These people are not about sticking to one thing. If they feel that their communication needs to transform in this way, they will do that. So, you know, like you have, let's say, presidential candidates. This is in US now, there's a big, president circus, I guess you can say, happening. And previously, like, they made jokes about how Mitt Romney, one of the candidates in 2008 and 12 campaign, would say something there, then say something to the next state, say something to the next state, or any kind of politician. That's the same thing here. So what happens is these guys are able to adapt. They're like, well, I'm in this situation, let me say this. I'm in this situation, let me say this. So all the dual signs that you see, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces, are signs of the duality is simply the transformation, going from one place to the other. And this is why these are the signs that actually show the change in seasons as well. Because something is changing. Winter is changing into fall, or spring is changing into summer. I mean, and it's not like they actually represent that. It's just that the personification is they represents the change in our internal seasons. So when Sun is ruling that 3rd house and the 7th house is what? Relationship, marriage, partnership, business partnership, business itself. It also represents the masses. Sign of Sagittarius is of the higher octane. It's a sign of, higher spirituality, philosophy, higher education, organized religion, believing in something. So you will notice with this person is that whoever they marry, that person either will try to change their belief system, or they themselves want to change the belief system of their spouse through their communication. Like if, let's say, their spouse is, I don't know, they're Hindu and they are Jewish, they're gonna be very philosophical, they're going to be very articulate, they're going to be very intellectually presenting the idea of why maybe you should also follow Judaism. Or it doesn't have to be something to persuade somebody to change something, it'll be giving ideas, philosophical ideas. Maybe your spouse doesn't want you to change religion, they're just giving you these higher octave ideas about who they are and what they are all about. But what this person does, they want to preach to the masses about the higher belief system. Even let's say if this person is a marketing salesperson, they're going to implement their higher beliefs as what marketing is, how marketing needs to be done to the people they interact with. And the reason why this is a very, very dynamic position for the sun, because a fire sign, which is Leo, is now in a fire sign of Sagittarius. And what is this? The 3rd, 7th, and 11th house in any horoscope is a Kama triangle, meaning the house of desire. They express their desire through communication with their partner and to the masses. Their desire to do something, to create something, happens with the exposure to the masses, exposure to other people, talking to other people, communicating with other people. Also, 7th house represents the court houses. You will find these people communicating in the courthouse as a lawyer, because sign of Sagittarius is law. Shows your father would be a lawyer as well, or your siblings might be lawyer. But remember, 3rd house represents siblings. 7th house is business partnerships, your spouse, marriage. Shows your siblings, especially your younger sibling, might have very strong ideas about what your marriage needs to be about, what your marriage should be about, which can obviously create a little bit of rift out, like, hey, I don't want you to tell me how my marriage needs to be. Because remember, the reason why this becomes a negative side, because sun is actually in a mild malefic planet in astrology. Why is it a mild malefic planet? Because it's a very strong heated planet. Anywhere it sits is going to leave a burn mark there. So if sun was sitting here next to me, the carpet would be on fire. So what happens when it sits in the 7th house? It burns some of the significance of the 7th house. And what this does is that either it can bring early on a very egoistic partner, marriage can be delayed, and it usually is, and shows that there could be little struggles between your spouse and your siblings, because your spouse may not like what your siblings are telling you about how you need to be in your marriage. So it's not all about like the being dynamically communicated. There's so many situations that happen between two houses that, I mean, I can write 10-page article on it. I can like make an hour-long video between 3rd and 11th house, or 8th and 1st house. So many situations we go through, thousands and thousands of situations are related to the 3rd and 7th house. But remember, 3rd house is known as a Parakram Sthan, meaning it is 8th from the 8th. 3rd house becomes a house of transformation. So when 3rd house is in the 7th house, and especially at being sun, shows your personality, your ego, your self-esteem, everything will change through marriage and partnerships. You'll be transformed into a different person through your partnership. For good or for bad, for that we have to look at many things. We have to look at the malefic influence of the 7th house or benefic influence on the 7th house. We look at planetary placements in the divisional charts in Vedic astrology. And that's where you're able to comprehensively make a sound decision. It may not always be accurate, but at least you get close enough to it. Because astrology is such a deep ocean, you can never be perfect at it. Okay. So guys, this is my analysis of sun in the 7th house for Gemini ascendant person. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And if you want to know where your sun is placed, all my books, reports, consultations for that, click on the link here. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.